Hello everyone, my name is Seth, and today I'm going to give you my review of Anyone But You. Anyone But You came out toward the end of last year, and it is based kind of loosely on Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. And honestly, this became a lot more popular than I was anticipating that it would. It became the highest grossing live action Shakespeare adaptation of 219 million. And I do make that live action clarification because technically Lion King is based on Hamlet, and the Jon Favreau one in 2019 did go on to make $1 billion. But still, this is incredibly impressive to make $219 million. It came out on Netflix not too long ago, and I thought I would finally give it a shot. But before I go any farther, go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. We are getting closer and closer to 200 subscribers, so go ahead and subscribe so you can be in the first 200. I appreciate all the people over the last couple of weeks who have subscribed. The channel's growing just a little bit even more. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for liking my reviews. Despite having an amazing first date, Bea and Ben's initial attraction quickly turns sour. When they unexpectedly find themselves at a destination wedding in Australia, the pair pretend to be the perfect couple to keep up appearances. So that's the premise of the movie, and for the most part, I would say that a good movie starts with a good script. I think this is a decent idea. I mean, it's Shakespeare, basically, so I think the idea is there. I think the potential is there. But overall, I don't really think that the script is that good. One of the big things for me in this is that I feel like a lot of the dialogue just does not sound natural. I think part of that is the line delivery, and I will get into that a little bit later in the review. But I think some of it is just that these lines are written in a way where this just isn't how real people talk. And honestly, it kind of pulled me out of the movie. I think, unfortunately, the characters are very shallow. There's very little depth, and that includes our two main characters. I feel like you can sum up most of these characters, if not all of them, in like one or two sentences. They're just all very simple and shallow and one note. I would have absolutely loved for these characters to be developed more. That would really make you care more about their wants and their needs and their problems. You want to feel connected to these characters, and I just didn't here, but I feel like this kind of movie is one that kind of hinges on you caring about the characters. There's potential here for some really good, well-rounded characters. Unfortunately, we stay very surface level. I think for me, maybe the worst part of the script is that it's not really funny. It's supposed to be a romantic comedy, but I really didn't get a lot of laughs. I had like maybe 3 or 4 chuckles throughout the whole film, and I think all of those were from either Glen Powell or Gatto. Like, there were plenty of times in this film where they would make a joke, I'd make a face, just say like, that's not really funny. And I think overall, the writing feels a little bit lazy to me. I feel like with the story and the characters and the jokes, they just kind of take shortcuts. And for the most part in this film, I kind of feel like the acting is hit or miss. I think Glen Powell's a lot of fun. He's very charming. He's fun in this role. I'd see him in pretty much anything, and he's like a true movie star at this point. I think if this character was cast with a less talented actor, maybe an actor who is not as charming or charismatic, I would probably have a lot fewer positive things to say about this film. I feel like a lot of the positives come from him and his performance. Sydney Sweeney was okay, I would say. She had good chemistry with Glen Powell, but in this film, she really didn't get to show much range. She kind of hung out in the frustrated, annoyed, sarcastic kind of area, and her performance just didn't really stand out to me. And she was just okay. Maybe her performance takes a little bit more of a backseat because of how charming Glen Powell is, but overall she does an okay job. I think that's the best way to describe it. Gatto was pretty good in this. I hadn't seen him in anything before, but he did a pretty good job. Like I said earlier, a lot of the laughs that I had from this movie are from him and some of his line deliveries. Because I enjoyed him and his character that much, I kind of wish there was a little bit more he had to do in this. Everyone else's performance in the cast basically fluctuated between not great and kind of bad. I think most of the bad line deliveries come from the rest of this cast. I've really liked Alexandria Shipp in things before. I think she's talented. I think she has a lot of potential as an actress, but she is pretty bad in this. I mean, not to sound too harsh, but for me, like 80% of her lines felt like a line delivery out of a mediocre middle school play. And honestly, that's kind of how I can describe some of these other performances as well. I don't know what exactly it was, but this just doesn't seem like the best day at the office for a lot of these other actors. One thing I will say though, it does seem like everybody was having a lot of fun filming this. So, I mean, at least that's good. One big positive of this is how the film looks. It was filmed in Australia and the locations they used were absolutely beautiful. The locations were well shot and it just kind of helps the film stand out a little bit more since the characters and story doesn't really do it. It was competently shot as a whole. The locations and the character blocking and things like that were well done. It's not outstanding, but it all comes together and works. There were a couple of shots here and there throughout the film that I thought were maybe a little bit odd, but nothing really horrendously bad. One thing I do want to bring up is at one point we see a character cry kind of toward the beginning of the film, and it almost to me looks like a CGI tear. I don't know if that's what it was, but it looked like it to me, and it looked very odd. Overall, I feel like this is a romantic comedy that fails to separate itself kind of from the rest of the pack. Glen Powell is fun, he's charming, and him and Sydney Sweeney do have good chemistry, but most of the other performances are not great. The locations are absolutely beautiful. It is competently shot, but the characters don't have any depth, and the story ends up being very cliche, very like paint by numbers. You know, it just feels like you've seen this before. And honestly, I feel like if you've seen the trailers, you probably know exactly how this movie goes. I bet my wife would probably enjoy this a lot more than I did. Maybe that's partially because she would get to look at Glen Powell for about 2 hours. I don't know. But for me, it had potential and it just didn't live up to it. I don't hate this film. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5. But that's it. That's my review of Anyone But You. Have you seen this film? Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You can follow me on social media pretty much anywhere at CinemaSeth, and I'll see you next time.